There is a new documentary called 2000 Mules by Dinesh D'Souza that came out a couple of weeks ago about the 2020 elections claiming election fraud. I've seen some advertisements of this documentary. I read up on some discussions. I went to Through the Vote's website, which is the organization that did the investigation on the matter. And I also read up on what the fact checkers had to say about all of that. So here are my thoughts and what I would like to elaborate on a little bit on this video and some key points. Have I seen this documentary? No, but I also have not seen Joe Biden's 81 million voters or their ballots. Do I believe there was election fraud that took place in 2020? I have no idea and no way of knowing. But I also have no idea how on earth someone that mostly campaigned out of his basement managed to get 81 million voters. Do I believe that Joe Biden is the president of the United States? Absolutely. Do I believe that Joe Biden runs the United States? Absolutely. To the ground. Welcome back. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, like and share. And make sure to watch till the end because I have some final thoughts that you do not want to miss. And actually, I don't want you to miss them either. I have put together some screenshots from Through the Vote, referring to the research, and some screenshots from Politifact, fact-checking that research, and their means and methods of doing so. So here's the introduction about this film as per Through the Vote. 2000 Mules documents research from Through the Vote, a conservative election intelligence organization that has compiled evidence of organized ballot trafficking in at least 6 states: Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Texas. In Georgia, for example, Through the Vote alleges there were 242 traffickers who made 5,662 trips to ballot drop boxes between the early morning hours of 12 a.m. and 5 a.m., potentially unloading hundreds of thousands of illegally harvested ballots over the course of several weeks. Pennsylvania, 1,150 mules, 45 drop boxes, 275,000 legal votes. Michigan, 500 mules, 50 drop boxes, 125,000 illegal votes. Wisconsin, 100 mules, 28 drop boxes, 14,000 illegal votes. Georgia, 250 mules, 24 drop boxes, 30,000 illegal votes. Arizona, 200 mules, 20 drop boxes, 20,000 illegal votes, for a total of 380,000 estimated illegal votes. This state showed more illegal votes from this strategy alone than Biden's winning margin, based on the True Vote's high bar in defining a mule, which is at least 10 visits to drop boxes. If the bar is lower to count those making at least 5 visits, the estimated affected votes increase by more than double. In my opinion, a good point to fact check would be the fact that we have no way of knowing who those ballots were for. But Politifact, sticking to their usual tried and proven methods of debunking misinformation, here's their introduction of that film. 2000 Mules, a new documentary from a right-wing filmmaker with a history of spreading false claims, promises to give evidence to millions of Americans who believe something went wrong in the 2020 election. Well, they believe a lot more than something, but I digress. Right-wing filmmaker, spreader of false claims. Okay, sure. I'm all for considering the source, but that is not the one and only determining factor. Not only that, it says nothing about the claims that were made in this film, and it fact checks none of it. But it is pretty standard procedure to throw this right-wing filmmaker, spreader of false information, because it has been proven to be selling very well with the masses. But what about the claims made in the film? What do they have to say about that? The trailer for Dinesh D'Souza's movie resembles a sci-fi flick set to dramatic horror movie music with grainy video footage of what appears to be people dropping off ballots at ballot drop boxes. So they're not into sci-fi flicks or horror flicks, and the footage is grainy. And how on earth does that fact check it false? And by the way, what they're referring to as it appears to be people dropping ballots in drop boxes. It is actual video footage of actual people dropping ballots at actual drop boxes, unless they can prove otherwise, which as of now, it seems that they either can't or they won't. Moving on with some more statements from Through the Vote. Gathering both geo-tracking, cell phone, data and video surveillance, Through the Vote captured ballot trafficking activity by 2,000 mules in 6 states. These paid vote couriers visited drop boxes late at night, used gloves to conceal their fingerprints, took photos to secure payment, and made multiple trips to multiple drop boxes over multiple weeks. D'Souza points out that the traffickers began wearing gloves just days after a ballot harvesting case in Arizona secured indictments based on fingerprint evidence. And here's Politifact's response to this. But experts on mail voting who viewed the trailer said it cannot support the allegations. Who are the experts? Who handpicked them? What expertise they used to determine that the evidence does not support the allegations? What methods they used and what proof they offered to back that up? I have no idea. But here's one of them, giving us his expert conclusions. If there is credible evidence, what is it? Said Kenneth Mayer, a professor of political science at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. This is not it. What is the credible evidence? Maybe in the video footage, maybe in the geo-tracking information. But if this is not it, like you said, what is your credible evidence? Or is it that your expertise should be enough for me to believe that what I saw was not what I thought I saw? Moving on with some more statements from Through the Vote. Furthermore, many of these mules are coming from nonprofit centers, which are 501c3 organizations, which means they are prohibited from election activities. These are people that have a tax exemption from the IRS conditioned upon them not getting directly involved in electioneering. You're seeing a coordinated ring of corruption, and the evidence for it is decisive, he added. Kirk later noted that a number of the nonprofits were closely aligned with Stacey Abrams. Despite the extensiveness of the evidence, Through the Vote has 27 terabytes of data, including 4 million minutes of video and 10 trillion cell phone pings, as well as a whistleblower's confession. The left stream media has been dead silent. Since I have not seen the film, I do not know if they go further into detail as to which organizations those were or who were those people. But again, another good point that they can actually debunk would be, and possibly like end this thing for good, would be to simply ask them, hey, listen, give us the names of those organizations, give us the names of those people that are involved, because allegedly you have them in video footage and you have them geo-tracked. But that is not how fact checkers roll. This is how they roll. This is how they debunked that. Dinesh D'Souza's poor record with the truth. D'Souza is a far-right commentator, author, and documentary filmmaker whose provocation and incendiary rhetoric traces back to his time at Dartmouth College. There, a conservative publication under his leadership published an interview with a former KKK member and publicly outed members of a college's gay student alliance. And again, standard fact-checking operating procedure. In the beginning of their article, Dinesh was a right-wing filmmaker and commentator. As the article went on, he became a far-right wing filmmaker that had connections with an organization that interviewed a former KKK member that outed a gay student alliance. I'm assuming since Dinesh is now white, they could not label him a white supremacist. But they did manage to throw in a little bit of extremist with a dash of racist with incendiary rhetoric, and for good measure, a nice splash of like anti-gay bigotry. I mean, like I said, it sells very well with the masses. I have gathered over 30 screenshots between Through the Vote and Politifact. I could make hours and hours of videos, but that would be a waste of my time and a waste of your time. I did not see anywhere any evidence other than this is not it. Geo-tracking information is not accurate. Those people could be casting votes for family members. Basically, a bunch of other assumptions with zero evidence to back anything up or fact check what this documentary is all about. I also thought about linking these articles in the description, but I decided not to do so. And hear me out. Let me tell you why. For a few years now, I became more skeptical of data, polls, studies, fact checks. And with 2 years into this pandemic, I was reassured of three things. One, I was right to be hesitant about the experts and the data they provided. Two, the best source of information is what I see with my own two eyes and what I personally experience. And three, and most importantly, people have forgotten that if you allow it, logical thought process tends to lead to logical conclusions. If I'm not feeling well, sure, I'll go to a doctor. If my car is broken, sure, I will seek a mechanic's expertise. Legal issues, I'll go to a lawyer, and so on. But you best believe I will not seek or need the advice of an expert to tell me what I see, to tell me what to think and how to think it, and how to interpret what I'm seeing and thinking and feeling and experiencing. So here's my most far from expert take in all of this. I know that I can turn on my GPS at a parking lot and it can pinpoint me down to the exact parking spot. I know that geo-tracking works and is very accurate. It is used by police. It is used by military. Our cars use it. Phone apps is used everywhere. I pull up in my driveway and my alarm knows that I'm here and it disarms itself. I come in the house, my thermostat knows and it adjusts itself. I know that most people will not be going out from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. multiple times to cast ballots and votes for family members. I also know that if your wife, a friend, a neighbor, a child, anyone would all of a sudden start going out, taking drives at 3 o'clock in the morning, at the very least, we will wonder why. Even though I cannot be certain as to why these experts see these things totally dismissible, especially on a matter as important as election, I do have a valid and reasonable explanation that it also gives an answer to an important question. Should there be an investigation about the allegations made in this film? So here's what I have to say about that. One, if I was in charge, let's say, of an armed robbery investigation that I committed, you best believe I will find zero evidence to incriminate myself. And two, and most important, have you ever stopped to think what would happen to this country, to the people of this country, and how the whole world would see us if there was actually proven to be an election fraud in America? That is like hacking America down to its core. It will do nothing good. Nobody would trust elections ever again. It would totally destroy this country. We might as well just throw away everything. Government, elections, laws, everything. So what are we to do? It's very simple, really. All we have to do is think logic, not bias, and trust the outcome of such. As for the allegations in this documentary, honestly, I wish that the only thing it accomplishes is for those that are in charge of us, put in place by us, to take a hard look and make sure that without a shadow of a doubt, we have the most secure election process in the world, and not just telling us that we do. And that's that. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I gotta give a special thanks to my brother because thanks to the conversations we had, I came up with a lot of the content in this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever it takes. I mean, it's free, and free is part of freedom. So if you start for freedom, then hit that button. Anyway, Until next time, thank you for watching. God bless.